Yeah, thank you so very much for coming to our program today, and we're super grateful. And as she said, she touched a little bit on it. If you want to get more detailed information, do send her an email, okay? And do come to her monthly meetings so that we can understand what it is that we need to do. I was not prepared for all of that. But if we can, we took up a bit of the question and answer portion this time around, so that's going to take it a bit off from the end portion of our program. At this time, we would please like to ask all of the resource panel if they would come to the tables here. We've got Ms. Varma Mitchell with the Temple University SBDC. Oh, you're still here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Victoria, please join us. Mr. Jim Burnett, come. Ms. Latoya Samuel Swarton, please come to the table. I believe that they're labeled. And also Ms. Symbol Lai. I believe you all know how long you have to speak, right? And if we can get started, we will begin in the order that's noted in the agenda, all right? Does everyone have an agenda? Ms. Varma Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am very grateful for being invited to be here to represent the Temple Small Business Development Center under the Fox School. I do have quite a bit of information material that I'll be happy to distribute and share with everyone. Again, my name is Varma Mitchell, and I have been associated with the Temple Small Business Development Center for quite a few years. And it's my second career after coming out of corporate America, and I enjoy it immensely because I work daily with helping entrepreneurs to start and grow their business. So, the Temple SBDC is one of 18 SBDCs across the state of Pennsylvania. And we focus on assisting anyone, whether they are starting or whether they have started a business, to actually focus on developing a process for making the right decisions about their business. So we help them to start the business and to grow the business. We do this, how do we do this? We do it in several ways. One, we have one-on-one consulting. So when an individual registers with the Temple SBDC, and I have to say, SBDCs are one of the gems, the hidden gems. Several years ago, I started a business, and if I knew then what I knew now, guys, I would be doing well. Because we did not have the resources then. But here comes the SBDCs. They are valuable resources. When you have an idea, what do you do with that idea? Where do you start? And so I love working with the individuals who have the seed, and so I can help them to grow the seeds. And so once you've registered with us, we invite you in and link you with a consultant. Our consultants are experts in various fields of business. So You have a one-on-one consulting, and the service is free. It is free. It is very lonely, sometimes overwhelming starting a business. And so when you come to the center, we assist you in sieving through all of the elements of getting you started, registering the business idea and getting you started. So the other way we help you is through training. We do have several courses that we operate throughout the year. One is the entrepreneurial small business development, small business workshop. This is a 10-week program that we carry you through and assist you in writing a business plan. And it is a challenge, but we're there to mentor you and to guide you in developing that business plan. Within 10 weeks, when you leave, you have your draft, you have a business plan, and you know how to present that plan. The other key course, which is one of our flagship course, is the CMC, which is the Construction Management course. This is a 6-month at least course that anyone who wants to start a construction company and knows how to operate this company will go through that certification course. It is very extensive. We offer other resources. For example, if you want to do international business, we do have experts who can guide you through marketing overseas and in other countries, and take you through the U.S. Department of Commerce guidelines and so forth. We have a legal clinic, and this is also another hidden gem. In starting a business, the experts tell you you need to have a lawyer and also an accountant. And many small businesses are not able to fund these resources. So this is where you would come to the Temple SBDC and you would have the direction of a practicing attorney and third-year law students who would guide you in registering the business in Harrisburg, developing contracts and agreements, developing operating agreements, as well as patents and copyrights. The services are free. All you have to do is pay for the fees that are asked at the various agencies. So this is one of the things that, again, you need guidance on. Talk about accounting, getting an accountant. Many people cannot afford an accountant. We do have the resources to guide you in developing the cash flow statement, your projections for your income statements, and etc. Letting you see the real dollars for your business. So, this is just to give you an overview of some of the detailed services that we offer. And so, we do have an incubator. You're ready to come out of the house, out of the basement, and take your business outside. The incubator gives you the opportunity for a nominal fee to have a business address and to conduct businesses right on the third floor of 1510 Cecil B. Moore. Do inquire about this. It is also a very valuable service that we offer. We offer creative assistance in designing your logo, your business envelopes, and your letterheads, and so whatever you need in starting the business. Then we have the returning clients who, having been in business, will come back and say, you know what, I need a strategic growth plan. I'm working with a 10-year-old clientele right now, and she has just returned this week. She says, I need a strategic growth plan. And here we guide her through developing the vision for the business and moving it forward. We are a gem. We see a temple over 600 clients per year that comes through that resource. So it is there. The center is funded by the Small Business Administration, by the Temple University Fox School, and the state. So we offer these free services. And for that, I'd like to put a pause here, and in your question and answer period, I can go on. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. We will do questions and answers for everyone at the end. So the next person we have is Ms. Victoria Horsendorf.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I'm Victoria, and if you look on the agenda, you'll see a couple of titles for me. At the Enterprise Center, we do a little bit of everything. So I am the Vice President here at the Enterprise Center, and I also manage our Minority Business Development Agency contract. So I run the Business Center here in Philadelphia. We actually cover Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Delaware. I'll tell you a little bit about the Enterprise Center. The Enterprise Center has 3 different components: business, capital, and community. So on our business side of the house, let me back it up for a second. The Enterprise Center, we're now celebrating 30 years of being in Philadelphia, supporting minority entrepreneurs into growing and developing their businesses. So we started back 30 years ago helping small businesses decide from a thought, a vision of creating a business and figuring out what it is you wanted to do all the way up to bricks and mortar. Over the last year and a half or so, we realized that there were a number of people in the city. So someone was talking about something earlier, and I started jotting down some notes. And one of the notes I had was SBDC. Definitely got to tell you about SBDC, and glad to see that Ms. Velma is here to tell you that you just heard all about the Temple SBDC program. So the Enterprise Center, we have evolved to now realizing that there are a number of businesses in the city, resource partners in the city, as Iola had mentioned, that will work with the startups. So we realized that there was a gap, because you heard Stan talking about from 0 to $500,000, there's really not nobody that was supporting you. So we began to restructure some of the services that we do to really focus on where is that gap at. You know, we have enough people that are starting the business, and you get all the education that you need, you go out and you start running your business, and then what? Where do we take you from there? So we want to make sure that we begin to start thinking about some technical assistance. Your business plan is done, but you heard people talk about your growth, your trajectory of your business. Where are you going from there? How do you take it to the next level? So some of our services that we have here is, in the room happens to be Miss Tiffany Pratt-Spaggins. I can't say your name. Tiffany is in the back, and she's waving her hand. Tiffany runs our Small Business Resource Transportation Center, and working with, when you heard, I will talk about bonding, or are you bondable? She just got finished doing 2 phenomenal bonding education programs, one in the city of Newark and one up in Pittsburgh. So she is now beginning her stages of formulating what the bonding education program is going to be here in the city of Philadelphia. And it was around this time last year that she had a successful program in Philadelphia. So she is one of the entities that is here. That program is funded between PennDOT and combination with the Enterprise Center. We have our starting a new program for the CEOs in the room, trying to do a CEO to CEO Connect, so that you can now begin to talk to other CEOs that are working in similar industries as you, and how do you begin to bounce ideas off of each other. Iola talked about an advisory board. How do you begin to start forming an advisory board and then moving into an executive board? So that is forming at the moment. And then the other program that I run is the Minority Business Development Agency. So that is celebrating 50 years of being around. 1969, under the executive order of President Nixon, he asked that we put federal funds aside to support African American businesses. Now we call those minority businesses. So we talked about there being different variables about who is considered a minority. According to the Department of Commerce and NBDA, it is African Americans, Latinos, Asian American, Hispanics, Asian Pacific Islanders, Asian Indian, Hasidic Jews. Those are the criteria for minority businesses only. So under that arm of the work that I do, white women are not considered a minority under that arm. Anything that I do work under MBDA, it has to be those categories only. The Enterprise Center is now a third-party certifier for the City of Philadelphia. We are now certifying women, minorities, and disabled businesces in this city. And we are here, and it does take about 60 days. You know, all the certification agencies will tell you they have a cap of 90 days, because depending upon, from the time you submitted all of your documentation, is everything complete? And if something is not complete, then we'll go back and ask you for more information. And one of the other factors that hold people up is that you cannot owe the city money with our certification. So we have that compliance check done. If it comes back no, we ask you to go back to the city and find out why you owe the city money, get that cleared up before your certification will be issued out. So sometimes, I'm not sure why that happens, but that we will send you back to the city, we'll give you a phone number and an email address to contact someone in the tax department to get that information cleared up. Sometimes that's been a factor as well. Or just scheduling, we do site visits, so if we can't schedule our times, that we're able to come out to your location and see the facility, that could also be a factor as well. Folks were talking about access to capital. So, and in the back I left is a number of flyers from us. So all of the flyers that MBDA has available, I put out on the table. I also put out some information because the Enterprise Center, under our capital arm, we have a CDFI, and we can loan out funds to small businesses. So you'll see this flyer in the back. And we have an inquiry form. We ask you to fill the inquiry form out, ask you some basic information, and then we will go through that, and then one of our capital members will give you a call to talk about how much funds are you looking for, what are you looking for them for, how fast do you need them, and then they will go through your financials with you and let you know, are you bankable? You know, are you able to get a loan? And I heard discussion earlier about, you know, yes, most banks will ask you for collateral. That means your home. So if you don't have a bricks and mortar for your business, they want to make sure that they get their money back. So everyone has good faith that they're going to pay it back, but the banks want to make sure that they get their money back. So that's why they ask for all of that documentation, all of those, your tax returns and your credit score, because they're looking to see how well you pay your personal bills. So if you're not paying your personal bills and your creditors back, they will assume that you're not going to pay the loan back. There are entities in the city that will do accounts receivable financing, which is based upon the actual contract that you won. So those entities are out there as well that will talk about, there are various forms of capital, equity investors that will invest money into you. So there are a number of things I tell people. You heard someone say earlier, know your number. Know your number, know what you're able to qualify for or not qualify for, know when you need it, and start seeking it before you need it. what happens most times, people wait until they're trying to make payroll that we heard earlier, and then they start seeking capital because I need it on Friday. Turn your radio off, turn your television off, because what you will hear is a payday loan company. When you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep, you turn the radio on to kill the silence in your head, you're going to hear payday loan. You turn that TV on, and I'm sorry, but there are a number of us in our own communities that are celebrities that are pushing payday loans.
Yeah.
So my advice is start looking before you need it. Knowing what your options are, that allows you the ability to control your business. Because you want to be able to do that. And in order to be able to do that, you have to know, okay, what's what. I heard people making sacrifices, which I love. We stayed in the basement for 3 years. We moving in the back of somebody's business. You're going to do what you have to do to not take that loan. So I commend you for doing that because you was able to save capital. You was able to put that money aside to when you needed it, so that you were able to, when the time was right, everything fell into line. You know, so we ask you to stop and think about that ahead of time. You know, and know your growth. We talk about growth, but how many people are talking about succession plans? How many of you have a succession plan? Or even know what a succession plan is? When you started the business, when are you getting out? When's the ending? I was talking to someone before this started, and I asked her, I said, your dad is 90 some odd years old, and I will still see him in this building. How long are you staying? What's your succession plan? And she said 6 to 10 years. She said, but I don't have anybody to take over the business. I said, well, then we need to talk. Because now you have to figure out who you're going to groom, or are you planning to sell the business? But you got to know, when you came in, what was it for? Was it because I'm laid off and I don't have anything to do? Was it because I have this desire, this vision that I want to grow, I want to do this, I know I can do this? But then when do you want to come out? Because somewhere along the way you want to spend some of that money you just made. And right now you're on that wheel and you're just keeping it going and you're hustling, you're doing what you have to do. Some people do it to put kids through private schools, then they wind up going to college, then the other kids got to go that same route. Now it comes time for you. You've been doing this for 20, 30 years. When are you going to get out? And because you are sending your children to private schools and to college, they don't want your business. Because you've now trained them to think and see what's out in the world. So now you got to realize, did you make that conversation with your kids? Like, I don't care what you do, but one of y'all coming back here to run this business. That's that kind of, I'm paying for your education, so you won't have to come back and there are other countries that do that. They will say, we will let you go to America to go to school, but when you come back, you got to work for the government for 5 years. That's getting them back home. That's taking all the knowledge that they got from here, sending them back home. But we don't do that to our own children. We let our children go off because, we want them to grow. They have visions, they have ideas, but we haven't begun to start putting someone in place to take over the business for us. So you got to start thinking about your succession planning and what that looks like as well. And then we have a community portion of the Enterprise Center. At 48th and Spruce, we have a culinary kitchen. So for all the chefs and the cooks that are out there that are cooking in your home that you know you're not supposed to, give us a call. Because we have, you can rent kitchen space out, refrigerator space, freezer space, dry goods space. We have a designer kitchen that you can come in and do tastings for those of you that are cooking for weddings and events. A number of things. Some of you need labeling. Some of you are not Safe Serve certified. If you're doing food, you got to be certified to be able to do that. And in order to be able to do that, that's one of the courses that they offer over there. Labeling and packaging. We take you through some courses there. And a lot of our suppliers that are over using our culinary kitchen on the baked goods side, they now have some of their products in Reading Terminal, have their products at Drexel University and at Temple University, have had their products with Sodexo. So we want to see them grow. So we're all about growth and how do we get you to grow your business and move along. So MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency, I told you a little bit about that. We are the larger end of the spectrum of where you go. We changed our mandates a few years ago, so we're looking for our business to be about $1 million and above in annual revenue. How do we help you with access to capital, mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures? How do we help you grow your business from 1 million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million? So one of the largest businesses that we have is about an $8 billion firm that we work with. And they have a branch here in the city. We want to make sure that, how do we get you to export your goods and services into another country? How many of you send stuff home? Home is not Philadelphia, and you have someone in another country that you send stuff to. That's exporting. That's not sending stuff home. That's exporting. Y'all do it. It's exporting. Now you need to figure out how I can send this stuff home and have support from Exim Bank. And I put some information in the back on Exim Bank. I put some information in about trade missions that are happening in the back. Exim Bank is an independent federal agency that fills the gap in private export financing in order to bolster U.S. job growth at no additional cost to American taxpayers. You can go through Exim Bank and the products and services that and services, that's exporting. You got a consulting business, the minute you pick up the phone and you call overseas, and you're working on a transaction, if it's a consulting services or whatever, that's exporting your services into another country. Exim Bank, you can work out through them, talk to them, and they will actually be able to secure your transaction. You pay the 5%, they pay them a 5% fee, so that they can get your money. We don't want our money tied up in other countries when we start sending the stuff back home, because then you realize, wow, some other countries might need some of the stuff that I'm sending as well. How do I now make connections to be able to do that? So part of the other things that I do is work with individuals to help them to understand what is out there, how do you negotiate to be able to feel comfortable about transferring, sending, selling goods and services into other countries. How do I go into and do trade missions into other countries? What does that look like? How many of you know that there's a program out there in the state of the U.S. puts out? It's called the STEP program. Have you heard of the STEP program? And not those that I talked to the other day. So that's a program that the state of Pennsylvania go after this grant. They will lend. It's a grant. You qualify. You put in for the grant, $3,000 to $5,000. You can use that for your trade mission. Then I connect you with the U.S. Commercial Services, who will line up 3 to 5 firms in those countries for you to do business with. So now you're not just going into another country not knowing anything about it. They'll work with the U.S. consulate and say, oh, we need that product or service here. Yes, make sure they come. So I put a thing in the back that talks about a few trade missions that are happening. One that's going to Lagos, Nigeria. I get these all the time. I send them out. My clients, I think they just delete my email. They're like, yeah, okay, I don't really want to read that. Victoria, leave me alone. U.S. Commercial Services is also doing an export to Europe, and they have training and a workshop. So I left that information in the back as well. If they're all going, I can print more. I can send you the email on these documents. But I wanted you to be able to have them because I know y'all sending stuff home. Let's figure out how to send it home, and let's really make some money. And now let's send some stuff to other countries as well. And the last and final thing, we were talking about certification before I came on, and I left some documentation. So Iola mentioned some of the things that you would need to be certified. I actually left you the entire checklist of all the things that you'll need to be certified. Okay? I will give you my business card, and one of the things that I say is, don't call me. The form actually say call Ms. Doris on purpose. On purpose? Yeah, it's on purpose, yeah. I don't answer that black phone. Don't call me. You can email me all day long because Chelsea sitting over there won't answer my calls. She be like, that's not my job, Victoria. I'm not answering those calls. My phone is with me 24 hours a day. So I tell people to email me because that way I'm able to take your email, read it, I can respond back to what you need, or I'll flag it to when I come back into the office or turn on my laptop, I can send you that information. Most people, if you type in small business, City of Philadelphia, I need help, I'm the third drop down. So my phone rings all day long. So that's why I say you don't want to be one of those people that are calling me and they be like, Victoria, don't call me back because you called me, because I know that's a startup. My startup